talk to me. What feels better? What feels worse?
It's easier to get up and down.
Okay, great. Don't worry, she's not sick.
Some of my other issues.
It's one of her other things that we're not even going to go into today. But again, would be a contributing factor to this, right? This chronic dry cough that she has. Okay, so side lying is really one of my absolute favorite positions. We often don't think about the body. As a three-dimensional space, right? We think front, back, sides, kind of we're a box. But really what happens in our bodies is that we undulate in rotation to get around or to do pretty much anything. And so when we get the person onto their side, what we can start to do is really manipulate the body through some of those undulations. So that's not just this, but it's also this. And what happens here as those lines of biotensegrity start to turn on. And so what I can do now is start to address the hip, internal, external rotation, activation, and really start to look at how the hip is positioned. One of the first things I want to do is get her into a little bit of a twist traction since she worked so much through the twists. So I'm just gonna ask you, I'm gonna bring this shoulder forward. You can kind of come back. I'm gonna take this out just for this one. Is that okay for you there? Right.
It's tight, but
it's tight, yeah. So I'm just gonna ask you, I know, to press up both knees together. Don't let them separate, press up into my hand. Good, go ahead. I'm gonna let you in and relax, relax, relax. And then again, press up. So as you notice, relax. What's happening here as I do this, what's happening is the lower lumbar get a little bit of a twist, rotation, and the lower lumbar, psoas, iliacus begin, and even the abdominis erectus, transverse abdominis, get a nice traction in a way they really don't in any other position on the table. So you're gonna press up, go ahead. Now I want you, with both of your knees closed, to press down. Press from the top knee down into me. Now I'm gonna win. And relax.
right when you get to the top.
Yeah. Yeah, when you really start to feel it. So press down into me. So as you notice, her feet come up, which is exactly what I want. Press down hard into me, press down, use your abs, keep your knees together and relax. Good, and press up into me. Press up, I'm gonna let you in and relax. There we go. Here, you can bring your shoulder underneath. So it's just a beautiful little stretch in a way that, oh, and that feels really nice. You feel the difference there?
Somewhat.
It's a lot softer to me. Touch it, even palpate it yourself.
I feel more in the front, actually.
Yeah.
From that than I do.
Yeah, I believe that, because you really are tight through here.
Yeah.
But this was super, hypertonic, right? So a lot of this wasn't moving, so.
And the more you get to midline in the front, the more uncomfortable it
Yeah. So side lying also, like I said before, is really the only position I do psoas work in. Again, it gives her a complete control over what's happening. Because the psoas is so deep, it attaches to the spine. It has so many different nerves and arteries, veins. It's something that you want to be very ginger around and take your time with. And so some of the things, again, remember, you want to think about what this muscle does, what the activation is. So I'm finding that iliosacral crest. We're going through. So I was in the iliacus before, but now as I just find the top of the hip, I'm going to come in, and then I'm going to come up and toward the hip. And that's really the attachment of the psoas. And a nice way to be able to see if you've really gotten it. So I'm gonna ask you to take this knee and press up into my hand. Use your abs, press up yet, and then use your abs. Good. So it pops up and relax down. Good. So I'm gonna give you two actions. One is gonna be just like what we did, but I want you not to press back into me. So you see how you're, yeah, there we go, great. It just gives me a lot more access to the muscle. Then the other is I'm gonna ask you to straighten your leg. And what that means is you're just gonna bring the leg all the way back behind you, straight knee, and your foot potentially off of the table if that's possible for you and it's within your range of motion without you feeling pain, okay? So press your knee up into my hand, good. And then extend it out. And I keep pinning and then bring it all the way down behind the table and let it rest behind the table. So what this does is it gives a nice length through the abdomen. And remember that psoas attaches all the way up into here. So we're getting a nice long stretch for that whole system. Try not to press back into me. You don't want to touch me if it's possible. So that just means bringing your hips over one another. She wouldn't have this issue as much if we did the other side, which we will, because this is the way she rotates, right? So she wants to rotate this right hip posteriorly. All right, so bring your foot up and bring your knee up into my hand. Give it a little push and then bring it back to neutral. No, just bring it back to neutral and hang out. Good. All right, so now I'm just gonna ask you to keep your feet together, hover your knee. Good. So I'm just gonna feel where the femur attaches past, yeah. Right, again, we're going through the hip flexor and then push into my hand slightly. Push, push, push. Push more. Keeping the feet together and then down. Good. And what that allows for, again, is almost like it's a contraction, but there's also a stretch, right? So you're contracting and lengthening the muscle at the same time. So that can actually create a little bit of a neurological trick to get resistant muscle to begin to move and release. So again, I'm just feeling around. And what I'm looking for too, yeah, so I'm barely even touching. Again, as I get back out into the iliacus is really where she starts to feel it. So I'm gonna come here. I'm just gonna ask her to extend her leg back. So as I pin and this, she brings her leg all the way back, keep going. Get a nice lengthening through here. I haven't moved my fingers, but it begins to deepen that position.